I was born in 1973. In the 1970s, it was not a time when nature was pristine or intact. By then, our forests were long gone, and many animals had gone extinct from Ireland, such as cranes and wolves. But as a child growing up in the 1970s and 80s, nature was positively abundant when compared with today. Our seas were full of cod and herring. Our rivers were full of salmon. As a kid, I collected bucketfuls of eels from streams in the Phoenix Park. Trips to the countryside were memorable for the mess of dead insects that had to be scraped from the car's windscreen. Thousands of birds filled the skies along the banks of the River Shannon, and although much of our bogs had been lost, there was still a lot left worth saving. And in the 1970s, people were sounding the alarm that nature was in decline, but nobody listened to them. Today, we know that over 110 plants and animals have gone extinct from Ireland entirely. We know that up to a third of all species, from birds, bees, fish, sharks, plants and butterflies, are threatened with extinction or near threatened. Our seas have been emptied and fishermen's boats are no longer weighed down with hauls of cod or herring. The salmon is endangered with extinction, and even the eel is now critically endangered. I have never had to scrape the bodies of dead insects from my car windscreen as I travel across the country. The birds of the Shannon have collapsed in number, and only a fraction of 1% of our bogs remain. Our rivers are polluted, and our farmland is increasingly a nature-free zone. We know that across the world, 60% of the large animals have disappeared since the 1970s. People continue to sound the alarm on the mass extinction of the natural world, but those in authority continue to look the other way. It is entirely appropriate to be angry that today's generation can only enjoy a fraction of nature's wealth which existed a few decades ago. We are right to be furious that our only planet is being whittled away for the sake of short-term greed and profits. But it is not appropriate to feel despair or hopelessness in the face of this assault. And that is why today is so important. I am convinced that Irish people care deeply about the living world around us.
Absolutely.
We do not want to pass on a world that resembles a pile of filth for our children to clean up. Restoring the wonders of nature is possible. It brings with it a great opportunity for enriching our lives and the communities we live in. It is essential if we are to cope with the challenges of climate breakdown. But for things to change, we need political action, not the cowardice that we have seen from Fine Gael over their time in office. By turning up today, when you could have been doing something else, you are telling our ministers that enough is enough. It is time to take action. Thank you.